What's going on, everyone? Juicebags here, and welcome back to some Dungeon Defenders 2 and another Hero Spotlight. Today we're going to talk about the Crowd Control Abyss Lord. Oh yes, here it is. And this is actually my favorite way to play the Abyss Lord. Even though I don't play the Abyss Lord as an active hero very often, it is still very, very powerful and can be a lot of fun if you enjoy that particular playstyle. Now we're going to base this build basically 100% off of the old number 2. So much fun to play this hero, that is for sure. Now this is fully an ability power hero crit hero. Like a lot of the ability users in game currently, remember hero crit damage does scale with hero damage or primary attacks and with ability power and the use of abilities. So hero crit is always going to be an important choice. Of course, we're going to primarily be focusing this build off of the number 2, which is an ability, so it is going to scale with ability crit. Now, when you throw the Abyss Knight on the ground, it is going to completely stun lock that lane, and with proper sharding, if you look at the cooldown on the bar, the cooldown is actually up prior to the Abyss Knight despawning. So you can actually give it pretty close to 100% uptime as long as you can keep some mana going in the mix while you do it. Now, I personally don't use a 100% optimal mana setup, and I'm going to jump right to the headpiece here, as I do like to use Inspiration, of course, which is going to give us the ability for that cooldown to drop below its actual time that it's up. Abyss Knight's Bargain reduces the mana cost of Knight of the Abyss by 40%, and in my opinion, one of the best shards to use after that is going to be something mana related. So Power of Storms, throw a channel into the mix, something like that, whatever you have that you can use to help get back some of that ability mana. I personally usually roll with Electric Retribution, which is not necessarily the advised shard to go with. However, I do like to get up in the middle of things when I play the Abyss Lord, and that also makes recovering the mana so much easier when you're up in the pack of bads. Now let's go ahead and look through all the other items. Now this is another one of those heroes, since it's directly ability power, the Wayfarer weapons, or incursion weapons, are some of the better weapons to use. We've got 2 of them. We've got the Demon Sith, and then we've also got the Scorched Tome of Molten Brimstone. Basically, both of these books are going to alter your right click, and you should use the book that you like the best. I personally go with the Demon Sith for several reasons. First off, I really enjoyed my Terraria playthrough, and nothing was more game-changing for me in that game than the Razorblade Typhoon. And although this is not obviously directly the same thing, it does kind of give me that feel as the Razorblade Typhoon did. And one thing you will see with this right click is you notice the damage itself is insignificant. However, you see all those red numbers, and that means that it does scale with crit damage. So you're getting that additional hero crit damage on top of the regular lower damage that it's doing. Now the primary attack is not much on it. However, that hero crit damage can be just absolutely huge. Let's throw a Drago Lich in the mix, and we should easily be able to see some numbers getting up into the 4, 5s, even 7 million DPS range, just spamming your right click. Now, a lot of people swear by the Scorched Tome of Molten Brimstone, and it is beastly in its own right. Throwing those lava balls out there, it makes you feel much like a Lavamancer to an extent. And you can actually get slightly higher DPS numbers with this weapon on the dummy. However, the build itself is not based off of the right-click spam, so I just kind of go with the one I like the best, as the whole purpose of the weapon is really to provide me with more ability power. And of course we know that the incursion weapons, or weapons from the Wayfarer, can have slightly higher stats than the ones that we're seeing drop in-game. That makes it so the Demon Sith is really the weapon for me, and I just really like that animation. Both of them are very effective flyer killers. A lot of people are originally concerned about flyers on their Abyss Lord, and oh yeah, it's not a problem. You right-click away, you will burn those flyers down like they're nothing. Now let's move through the rest of the shards. Flaming Knight is a required shard. Knight of the Abyss is now imbued with fire, causing enemies hit to burn for 500% of your ability power and fire damage over 5 seconds. Of course, there's a link in the description below to the shards website that has where all these shards drop and all the fine details of each one. Now, I also use Life Leech, and although the Abyss Lord comes with a factory built-in heal that is pretty darn good, if you stack Life Leech on top of this, it makes you an unbelievable killing machine. As we know, just as we're channeling our left click or primary attack to get more of our ability mana back, each one of those little damage ticks is going to have Life Leech proccing on it, which means that you can easily get yourself healed back up to full from insanely low numbers by using the fountain and Life Leech itself. So this is one hero that I really am a strong believer in Life Leech. I don't use it on many of my other heroes. However, the Abyss Lord, it is always in there for me. Once again, Flaming Knight is required. Moving on to the Headpiece, we talked about this a moment ago. Abyss Knight's Bargain is definitely one you're going to want, and Inspiration, reducing the cooldown of your abilities by 40%. Inspiration is probably the most important shard in the entire build, as without Inspiration, you do not have the ability to spam your Abyss Knight as often as you would like to. Now, moving on over to the chest, I used Bulwark, Darkest Siphon, increasing the angle of Dark Siphon by 30. This allows it a little bit easier to collect up your ability mana. Now, as I am a up in front, in your face kind of Abyss Lord player, this makes it so getting back my ability mana in a pack is just easy mode for sure. Now, I also roll with Bulwark and Retribution. Once again, I am in the pack, so I want to take some slightly reduced damage, and Retribution is going to return some of that to the bads. Now in the gloves, you got a couple of really required shards. First off, even though it's only 30, it's one of your lowest cost abilities, the Abyss Knight, you can burn through your mana pool just super quick if you're not careful. So I always roll with Mana Leech in the gloves, which increases the amount of mana gained from Dark Siphon by 40%. Definitely a required shard in my opinion. Without it, you do have to manage your mana much more effectively, and that is definitely not my strong point. Now, Hero Crit in any DPS hero should always be a required shard. Giving yourself an additional 10% chance to crit is just absolutely huge. And then for the third, I usually roll with Flaming Retribution. When you take damage, you have a 20% chance of dealing 425 of your armor as fire damage to your attacker. Once again, I do play the Abyss Lord a little up close and personal, so I kind of like to have that additional damage on top. Now in the boots, there's a little bit of debate on what you should use, but this is what I usually go with. First off, Speed Boost is just a huge quality of life shard, so every hero should have Speed Boost in their boots. I really like Withering Fountain and Fountain of Speed. Now, the heal from the Abyss Lord costs no defense units. However, it is essentially an AoE heal that will heal all your friends, give them a speed boost, and in turn, make enemies that are inside it not hit quite as hard. And we're doing that through these shards. Withering Fountain, Abyss Fountain, withers enemies inside it, reducing damage they deal by 20%. Makes it ideal for a large pack of enemies at your walls, as it means your walls are going to take 20% less damage as well. Fountain of Speed, Abyss Fountain increases ally movement speed by 650 for 5 seconds. How do you not want it? I mean, it's just too awesome to give up. By all means, trail around the map and keep this dropping in front of you the second you lose your speed buff, and oh yeah, you can just zoom around anywhere that you need to go. Now, Drago Lich is definitely the preferred pet. The reason being is it is the best pet for any ability power user. You get Drago Lich, of course, from the Treasure Pirate right over here in the tavern for 7,500 Defender medals. As far as pet purchases go, in my opinion, this is the #1 pet to buy. Before you buy any pet, if you are in the market to purchase one, you want to get Drago Lich in your arsenal, and you definitely won't regret it. Now, Drago increases damage taken by 100% for 5 seconds, which means it increases damage taken from you and your abilities. It increases damage taken from your friend who's shooting at it as well. And it increases damage taken from all of your defenses, which are also firing off, making it one of the best pets in the game without a doubt. Now, I roll with ability power hero crit, but of course we know that empower stats are really insignificant compared to the kind of numbers we're just getting on our gear. So although I do always re-roll my pet to the correct stats or the stats that I'm looking for, not really crucial. All you're going to really want is Drago and its default ability. Now, you will see different ghost whales. You'll see a ghost whale 1, 2, 3. They're actually all the same, so don't sweat that. As long as you have ghost whale on your Drago, which he should have by default as soon as you level him up, you're going to be in good shape. Now, let's take a peek through the Ascension. Now, starting off in the utility category, as I always do, the very first thing you should do on every single DPS hero is go into Hero Crit Chance. Hero Crit Chance is very important because of the way crit scales in the game. Of course, the higher chance you have to crit, the better you're going to be able to take advantage of that hero crit scaling. On the offense category, I always go into Abyss Knight Radius. Increases the Abyss Knight Radius by 20%. Too awesome to pass up, without a doubt. It makes it so really no mob is safe. If they're spread out, throw it in the middle, whatever, it's all good. It's going to hit them all. Now, there could be a little debate on this category about whether you should go into the Abyss Fountain Heal instead. It increases the Fountain Heal rate by 20%. This is by all means a very, very important bit of Ascension, as it does make your Fountain just exceptionally more effective. However, I personally always go with that range first, and then I go with the Abyss Fountain Heal. Now, on the utility category, once you go into Hero Crit Chance, you're going to want to go into Ability Mana. So at 60 Ascension, you should have 20 points into Hero Crit Chance and 20 points into Abyss Knight Radius. After you double that and you're at 120 Ascension, you should have 20 points into Abyss Knight Radius and Abyss Fountain Heal, and then 20 points into Hero Crit Chance and Ability Mana. Now, from there, you can kind of vary it out however you want. The route I took was Hero Crit Chance, Ability Mana, Movement Speed, and then Hero Crit Damage for the rest. Now, Hero Crit Damage is very important, as crit damage scaling is so huge. However, Movement Speed is just such a quality of life issue, it's really tough to pass up. So that is the route I take directly around the box. Now, in the utility category, nothing else matters down below here, with the exception of the Abyss Fountain. I put this low on the priority poll, but you can prioritize it wherever you like. I personally wouldn't suggest putting it prior to Ability Mana, but if you wanted to go Hero Crit Chance, Ability Mana, then down to your Fountain range, there's nothing wrong with that either. It is, obviously, more range, the merrier. Makes it awesome. Now, back over to the offense category. The least important stat we have is hero damage, so you don't really need hero damage on any of your gear. You don't really need to put any of your Ascension into it until absolute last. So what I personally usually do is go Abyss Knight Radius, Abyss Fountain Heal, and then everything else into Abyss Knight Damage after that. Now, after I maxed Abyss Knight Damage, I then went up to Hero Health, down to Abyss Stone Damage, even though I don't use it very frequently, and then now the remaining points I'm going into Hero Damage. but definitely make sure your Abyss Knight damage gets all the points it can after you take care of these other two at the bottom. So that will do it for now. Hopefully this helps answer some questions on how to play the Abyss Lord. And like I said, you will not be disappointed. The old number 2 is where it's at, and it will completely spawn camp just about any lane with that stun. Now, in addition to that, once you get to Chaos 5, we start seeing Assassins in the game. Now, one thing with the Abyss Knight and Assassins is you get that purple glow, and you know the Assassin is coming as he's got the glow on your back. If you quickly throw down an Abyss Knight and stand in it, when the Assassin pops, it will instantly be stunned, allowing you to stun lock it completely into the ground with more Abyss Knights, or giving your defenses an opportunity to kill it. So that will do it for now. Thank you very much for watching. Click that like button and please subscribe to the channel, and I will be back soon with some more Dungeon Defenders 2. I'll see ya. Oh, and by God, how can I ever forget? If you want to see some real fun, use your skeletal orc walls, and we'll watch them dish out the pain. Now they, of course, are going to scale with defense crit damage very nicely. You see a wall that's popping out anywhere between 70,000 and all the way up to like 400,000 DPS. However, try throwing direct command or your number 3 on it, and sit back and enjoy the show as, oh my God, would you look at the beast mode. That'll do it now. We'll see ya.